guys, welcome back to Split Decision. This week on episode 52, we are recapping UFC Vegas 94, Verna Yandarova's defeat of Amanda Lemos. From there, we're going to talk top British things, and we're talking top 5 British things because this week is UFC 304. So that's
across the pond again.
Perfect segue to that at the Co-op Arena
in Manchester.
It's going to be a great fight card. Leon Edwards is defending his title against Bilal Muhammad. Both guys, long win streaks coming in. One of them's got to end. After that, we're talking stakes and takes. That's basically where we bring you picks on top of UFC picks and then bets for the week. We're doing pretty good this season. This season's wrapping up in the next 4 weeks, I believe.
3-4 weeks, something like that.
But yeah, it's going to be a great episode. Before we kick everything off, head over to w.gg, use code SPLITDECISION for 10% off your entire order. That's going to be your best source for clean, genderless energy. I like the Dragonade. That was the one we had first.
I also like the Dragonade.
And my new tub's on its way, so we get to try new flavors soon. All right, let's go.
So UFC Vegas 94 happened this weekend. It was a card where the prelims, very small prelim card. Prelims, be casual right here. They're kind of boring. But the main card, the 5 fights we ended up having on the main card, a lot of finishes, a lot of excitement. Before we get to the main card, Alex, let's recap the boring prelims.
The first, not all boring, just lackluster in all result. Thomas the Train Peterson was the big engine that could, as he really just showed up. Muhammad Usman took him, the big boys, into deep water.
That was one of your bets, wasn't it?
Shut up.
Picks.
It was. I lost that one. Thomas Peterson won by unanimous decision, but it wasn't a very impressive win. You know, it was a lot of Muhammad Usman not really getting his footing or timing, not being confident in his own strikes. From there, moving on to another decision, Luana Carolina beat Lucy Pudilova. This one was a clear unanimous decision in my mind. 114 total strikes landed. She stopped half the takedowns of Pudilova. It was a good performance. Should have been 30-27 on all three, in my opinion. She won 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. To my second favorite fight of the prelims, Trey Ogden did what he does best. He took the guy down. That guy is Loic Radzhabov. Took him down, 4 out of 5 takedowns, almost 10 minutes of control time. It was a big win for him. He did that same thing to Kurt Holloway last time out. That's how he fights. He wanted the sub. He couldn't quite get the sub, but he did what he needed to do to get the dominant win on that fight. And Miranda Fear the Maverick, she handily beat Dion Barbosa. Admittedly, Dion Barbosa was in on short notice because originally Miranda Maverick was supposed to fight Tracy Cortez. So with the last week mix-up moving into this week, Dion Barbosa did her best, but Fear the Maverick was ready for it. She was the fan favorite, the money line favorite, my favorite, and she put the fear in Dion the Witch Barbosa, not letting her cast any spells. That's all I got for the pun there. And then closing out the prelims, the only finish on the prelims, round 1 submission by Cody Gibson to Brian Kelleher. It was an arm triangle.
Did you pick Kelleher too?
No, I picked Gibson.
Okay.
I picked both Codys. I won one of those and I lost one of those. This was the one I won. Cody Gibson won. He subbed, Brian Kelleher. It was good, in my opinion, for Cody because they were, both down looking to get a win. Kelleher lost, sub like twice in a row now, so that sucks.
It does suck.
That caps out, like we said, the lackluster prelims, moving right into
an eventful main card.
A very explosive main card. What was it? One fight made it to the third round?
Yeah, one fight made it to the third round, and that was
the only decision on the card.
Only decision.
But let's start in order.
Yeah, so the first fight of the main card, Choi with the first round knockout of Algeo. Impressive performance. He's a guy We mentioned before the fight he hasn't fought a lot recently. I think he had, what, 1 or 2 fights in the past, 5 years?
Yeah, it was his 1 or 2 fights in the past 5 years, but it was also this was his first win in 8 years.
His first win in 8 years. And
So his last one was in 2016, which is crazy.
We mentioned ring rust coming in. Yeah, because he had a 3-fight losing streak.
He had a draw to Kyle Nelson, I believe. Or maybe, Bill Algeo lost to Kyle Nelson. He drew to Kyle Nelson.
But we talked about ring rust coming in as it went on preview. There was no ring rust in here. He beat the way more active Algeo.
Yep.
That's more active in his career, not in this fight. Very impressive performance from Choi. Way to get back on the winning team, winning wagon, whatever you want to call it. Get some momentum back in your career.
Yeah, this was a big test for different reasons. You mentioned them for Choi. Bill Algeo needed to kind of get back on the horse after that loss to Kyle Nelson. Unfortunately for him, this gives Bill Algeo 2 knockout losses in a row in the UFC. I feel like he'll be back, never count him out. But Doo-Ho Choi surprised me here. I picked Bill Algeo to win originally, as did you. This was a good surprise. I'm actually excited to see Doo-Ho Choi fight.
Yeah, it was an exciting fight. He's a fun guy to watch when he's on.
Yeah, it didn't take him, the whole fight. He got the finish. He didn't take a whole bunch of damage. So I hope to see him fight sooner rather than later. That would be a good one. See him. Another Apex card would be great for him.
Yeah,
soon.
I think he's an Apex guy for the time being.
All
but
right,
a few more first-round knockouts, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the Cody I lost on. Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva.
Bruno Silva's second-round TKO win.
He proved his nickname. He got that dog in him, Bruno the Bulldog Silva. Second-round TKO win, like you said. He was the favorite coming in. He was a slight money dog favorite. I thought Cody Durden was going to beat Bruno Silva.
Yeah, I actually got this one right. I had Silva winning, and
this is the fight on the preview when we said that we picked different. This is when I have to eat my words because I said, yeah, I like that because usually I'm right when that happens. I was wrong.
No, you were right later in the card, but this one I got the edge on you.
Yeah, it was a good fight. Bruno Silva did what he needed to do. He was arguably down in the first round. He got taken down. Durden had some control time. 3 sub attempts early.
Yeah, it was looking very good for Durden early on.
I felt positive, and then the second round came, and Silva, I don't want to say he woke up, but he found his rhythm, got his timing in order, and, sent a massive uppercut that put Durden on the ground, and then followed it up with some stiff ground and pound that made the ref stop the fight. It was a great showing by Bruno Silva.
I was about to say, overall, great showing from Silva. It's one, if you're watching, you remember his little finishing sequence, his impressive performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on now, the Louisiana native,
podcast favorite,
Kurt the Hurt Hollabaugh. He took on Kanan Kruczewski for the only decision of the main card. It was good. He landed with more power, more accuracy, and he had control time.
That's Hollabaugh with the unanimous decision win.
Correct. Over Kruczewski. It was great. It was a great showing. I'm excited to see Kurt back. What do you think about the fight? Where'd you take it?
Yeah, it was an impressive performance. He came out. This is what we talked about it before. His third stint in the UFC.
Yep.
He opened up this stint. This was 2 fights ago with his first win after winning tough. He had a tough
31 lightweight.
No, he had no pun intended. He had a tough next fight against the guy you mentioned earlier, where it was kind of just ground control. Kind of got dominated, but not.
Yeah, he definitely got dominated,
but not in a way where it's like I got beat up, dominated. It's like I got held down. I couldn't do anything.
Right. His shoulders were pinned to the canvas for 15 minutes.
So honestly, this was a big one for Hollabaugh. This is one I think, because he's been in the UFC this many times, and I think he was 1-5 coming in. This was almost one where Kurt had to win the fight.
Yeah.
To legitimately be like, I still belong here. And hey, he did. He got the unanimous decision win. Overall, just an impressive performance from him.
Yeah, he did good. He was taken down, but he got back up. He had, like we said, more power. It was a great fight for Hollabaugh to stake his claim for a next fight in probably another Apex card, if you ask me. But I'm excited to see it. We got to see his little boy cheer for him. That was cool.
If I'm him, I'm all about these Apex where I get on the main card.
Yeah, absolutely.
for right now.
Absolutely. Speaking of surprises, Steve Garcia, round 1 knockout over Sung Woo Choi.
You were surprised by this?
I was surprised by how quick it happened.
Yes, I was too. I picked Garcia to win, but it was a quick finish.
I typically pick second round knockouts because, in my mind, when I'm looking at a lot of fights, at least in the lighter guys, heavier divisions, I would say probably quicker knockouts are more frequent. But on the lighter guys, they take a minute to figure out their timing and rhythm. That's why I always go with a second round knockout if I'm picking a round. This one was just kind of like lightning in a bottle. They started off quick.
Yeah, if you blink, you missed it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Sung Woo Choi says here he only got 16 total strikes off, 9 landed, and it was just boom, 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 and then he got knocked out. Just minute and 36 seconds in.
I'd say Garcia probably had, of a main card that had a lot of finishes, it was probably the finish of the night, the highlight of the night.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Steve Garcia's career though, he's got 13 KO wins with a 5 KO win streak.
Yeah,
in the
so
UFC.
it shouldn't be that surprising they did it, but as I said, I think it was the highlight. If you had to pick one highlight of this entire fight card, I think it's this knockout.
He called out Dan Ige. I think he's kind of far from that call out.
Yeah, I think that's a lofty call. I don't blame him for doing it. Ige would be down if.
I mean, nobody else really called anybody out. So for any names to be spouted, I get sure, it's going to have some credence behind it.
And it's a call out where Dan Ige is a guy, as he proved a couple weeks ago. He doesn't say no to a fight, so it's like, yeah, he probably. But
I picked two better options.
I think Dan Ige has so much stock right now at the UFC for taking a fight in 4 hours. He's not going to take this.
Yeah,
fight.
Dan 300K Ige.
Yeah, he's going to take a more high profile fight. No offense to Steve Garcia.
Absolutely. I picked two better ones in my opinion. What about Muhammad Naimov or David Onama?
Onama, I think that would be a good one. Naimov also, though. I think both would be good, but I would like to see Onana.
Onama? Perfect. I'll
Onana.
lock that
Onama?
one in for the future
Barack
prediction.
Onana?
Barack Onama. All right, let's move on to the main event. It was a quicker fight than I expected.
Brazil on Brazil, woman violence.
That's how we like it. Women's strawweight, Amanda Lemos. She was the third-ranked women's strawweight. Took on Verna Yandaroba, the fifth-ranked women's strawweight, and they swapped. Verna Yandaroba took her into the second round. She almost subbed her in the first round. Got pretty deep on those sub attempts.
Her jiu-jitsu is just nasty.
But Lemos in the first round countered well. They were rolling together, but Yandaroba's jiu-jitsu is just so much better.
And it's so...
Found the holes.
It's like she puts pace on you. You hear about guys putting pace, or fighters putting pace, like on the feet. Mm-hmm. They don't let you breathe. It was like she was doing that on the ground.
Yeah, she's so fluid with it. They have here only one of 5 takedowns.
You switch off for 1 second while you're on the ground with her.
It's over. Yeah.
And you see what happens. A second round sub.
4 sub attempts. She got, like we said, a couple deep in the first round and then just went straight back to it. Took the whole round. Most of the second round, or I guess about half of the second round, was spent on the ground with her just searching. How am I going to get it?
Just waiting for you to fuck up.
Yeah, as soon as you do, boop, fight's over. And now, I would argue that Verna Yandaroba is in line for a title shot, regardless of who has the title.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, you look at it.
I wouldn't be surprised if she got a title shot, but she might need one more fight to.
Weili Zhang just beat Xiaonan Yan. That was their last title contention.
Yes.
So Xiaonan Yan's not fighting for the title. Verna Yandaroba has no reason to fight Xiaonan Yan, in my opinion.
To get a fight, to get a title.
Right, but Xiaonan Yan was beat up. So time-wise...
She had a little bit of success against...
No, I'm saying just time-wise, Zhang Weili probably wants to fight, once again, sooner rather than later. Tatiana Suarez is undefeated in the division, so that could be
a good one.
An argument.
I think Tatiana might get it above her.
If they do that, then like I said, I would still say Verna Yandaroba title shot next. I think she deserves it at this point. I mean, she's 21-3 in her career. She's winning every fight she gets into.
I wouldn't be surprised if she got a title shot. I think it'd be deserved if she got a title shot, but for some reason I'm thinking they're going to give her one more before then.
That would be fair. I mean, she's on a 4-fight win streak. She lost to Amanda Ribas, but then we just saw Amanda Ribas kind of get pieced up recently.
Yeah, Amanda Ribas is up and down.
Yeah. And that was just kind of one where she was up on. I think either way, it was a great performance by Vernie
Oh yeah,
Andorova.
great.
Second round sub. If she doesn't get a title shot next, I think she has one in her future. Just don't fuck it up.
We said Garcia had the highlight of the night. She had the win that progressed your career, the most important win of the night.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, definitely the most important win of the night for her career.
Okay, as we mentioned earlier, UFC 304 is across the pond
Co-op
in Manchester, England, United Kingdom, Britain, Great Britain, So in honor of that,
Earth.
we got top 5 British things. So Alex, I think it's your pick first.
It is. Last week we did. What was last week's draft?
Put me on the spot here, Alex.
I know. I put myself on the spot even mentioning it.
Regardless, I had the first pick.
And it was a good pick. Go check it out. We'll link it.
We will. But how about you kick us off here? Top 5 British things. A lot of different ways to go.
Yeah.
I believe if you're an OG fan, you may have heard our top 5 British people in the past. Probably about a year ago, the last time they were in England.
Very, very close to a year ago.
Well, this one's a little different.
My top British thing. If I think about British, GB as they say,
Britannia.
I gotta think of the monarchy.
Oh.
The reason, it's like they got the show The Crown, the Queen, the King. It's everybody knows about queens and kings. They are the most popular monarchy. So when I think about Great Britain and the such and the like, I think about the monarchy. So
Meghan Markle.
Meghan making money, all the things.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. It's a good pick, but that was going to be Clara's guest pick this week, my beautiful girlfriend Clara.
Well,
she did give me a backup, but that was her first choice. So that one hurts a little bit, but it is a very good pick. It is one of the things you think of most when you think of Britain.
That's kind of where my draft is going to be based, is like when I think of Britain, what do I think about? If I'm thinking about British in general, the top British things, I'm not Googling. I'm thinking about the things that just pop in.
I understand.
All right. What's your first pick, sir?
So my first pick is going to be the backup pick Clara gave me, but it's actually, I think it's a better pick. So this is for my beautiful girlfriend Clara.
Biased, but whatever.
This is her guest pick of the week.
She didn't even say it first. She said it was her backup pick.
Well, wait till you hear it.
It's not. It can't be better. Just saying.
It is the most popular game in the world, most popular game of all time, soccer/football. They invented it. They care the most about it. They have the richest teams, biggest teams. They're not the best at it, but they're good at it.
They're pretty damn good.
They're very good, but they're just not the best. But they are probably the most soccer crazed.
Shout out the Euros.
Crazed nation in the world. They care about it a lot. They have the most expensive league in the world, biggest TV rights, all that good stuff. So football, soccer, they invented it. They love it. Britain.
Would you say? Never mind. I'm not even going to get into a soccer versus football debate. It's not worth it. That is a good pick. I have to say you turned me on to soccer, so we're watching it right now. Shout out Manchester City. Is that
Yes,
right?
it's Manchester.
Hell yes, I'm getting it right. But yeah, that's a good pick. What do you have for your second pick?
Oh, so my second pick. This is where it gets kind of hard.
Immediately, the rubber's meeting the road.
Well, there's just so many stuff.
You
said
we're some dumb Americans.
I have a lot to choose from, and I was kind of saying which way I was going to go. But you said something that made me think, and it's kind of going to gear my draft too. You said it's going to be the thing you think of most when you think of Britain. So my number 2 pick is going to be the British accent. They have one of the most distinguishable accents in the world. No matter where, because of their past colonial enterprises, no matter wherever you go in the world, whether it's North America all the way to Southeast Asia, there's British people.
Yeah.
And there's the British accent. And it's recognizable. Everybody in the world knows the British accent, from the Americas, Africa, Europe, Asia. Australia is pretty much a bastardized version of the British accent.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is, actually.
So my number 2 pick is going to be the British accent.
That ranked pretty high on my list. The British accent was going to be my guest pick as well. So stab me, I stab you, you stab me. It's fair. Shout out Jackson. Sorry, buddy.
I'm not.
Nice. That's a good pick. I can't argue with it. It is a crazy sounding accent. You could spot it a mile away. I'm not even going to try to do a bad one. So,
Hello.
yeah, that's terrible.
Uh-uh.
That's better. All right. My second pick. Oh, I forgot to mark off soccer on the list. My bad. I've got to go with tea.
Oh, I had tea on mine. That's a good pick, and I love tea.
A lot of people love tea.
They also do something that's very good. Do you like tea?
I'm not a huge fan of tea. I'll drink it if it's
Hot tea with milk in it.
See,
Oh,
I would
so
much
good.
prefer hot tea than like a cold like tea.
I love hot tea. I don't think they drink cold tea.
I love Ted Lasso's approach to tea. That's just great. It's dirty water that tastes like nothing. I love it. But yeah, tea. When you think of British, once again, the British are coming. You know, the Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party.
All the things British, you think of tea. Also, people who like tea, good tea is, British from the UK. So there you go.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. I had it on my list, so I can't even hate.
Can't even hate. My third pick. There we go. I've got to go with the Union Jack.
The flag.
Yeah, the flag is a pretty cool flag.
It is a good flag, and it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's one of the main flags that, everybody can kind of point out. Like it's a big deal country. Not like, let me not say one, but one of them. Yeah, the Union Jack. It's
like
also
Haiti.
God, there you go. Yeah, just like Haiti. Never could pick that flag out. Yeah, the Union Jack is a cool flag. It looks cool.
Shout out to all our Haitian listeners out there.
And then some people in America took it and just completely tried to change part of the meaning of it, but whatever. But yeah, the Union Jack's a pretty cool flag. It's definitely
I like
notable. You can.
I mean, it's recognizable. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your third pick?
So my third pick, this is tough. I'm gonna go with probably the most famous fictional British person.
Okay.
You've seen him. You love him. He has books. He has movies. It's a character that's been around, I think, since the 50s. It's gonna be James Bond.
There you go.
My number 3 pick, James Bond. He's the coolest guy. Crazy super spy.
He's a
always
cool guy.
figures it out. Always has a cool car. Always gets the girl.
Is it always an Aston Martin?
It's always an Aston Martin.
Nice.
I think they tried to change it one time and it was a big deal.
So they're like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Got it. And it has to be in movies, isn't it? Have to be by like a British person.
I think it's always been, and I think even in most of the movies now, he's still. In the recent ones, it's Aston Martin, and it's an old Aston Martin still. So I think it's typically like that 60s style.
Yeah, I know one of the new ones had the DB9, a newer one, but I believe he was taking it from someone. So
Yeah.
anywho, yeah, that's a good pick.
James Bond's the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, if only he were real. Well, I guess he could be. We just never know about him.
007.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, so James Bond, my number 3 pick, and now my number 4 pick.
Manchester City just got scored on.
Yeah, it's a friendly. It doesn't matter, Alex. You have a lot to learn.
Whatever. Watch them lose. Still hurts.
My number 4 pick. This is going to be... My beautiful girlfriend Clara did not pick this pick, but...
You're trying to attribute things?
But it
So
makes
this is the problem here. Is you're
it makes
putting
me-
words in mouths.
It makes me think of her, and you'll see where I'm going. It's the most famous. The sport it is, and the tournament it is the most famous out of that sports tournament.
Bitch, I know what you're about to pick.
Wimbledon, my number
Yeah.
4 pick. Iconic grass courts. It's like the Masters of tennis. With
Shout out-
Masters is to golf.
Shout out
with
Carlos
tennis.
Alcaraz. Just won
Alcaraz, yes, he's like 20-something years old,
it.
and,
22.
he's won
Monster. 4 majors.
2 Wimbledons in a row. He's won the last 2 majors
Nuts.
by himself. But yeah, Wimbledon, they make you wear all white. They have all these standards. And it's just the most prestigious tennis tournament in the world. One of the most prestigious sporting events in the world, regardless of sport.
Yeah, I'd have to say even people who don't watch it, kind of like the Stanley Cup and stuff. You tune in for the big things.
Yeah.
Casual people. I watched a lot of Wimbledon this year, and I've never watched tennis.
I
so
love Wimbledon.
there
But
you
yeah,
go.
Wimbledon, my number 4 pick.
That's a good pick. My number 4, I'm going to go with more British things. Ta-da. I've got to go with something, again, that makes me feel like it's British. Castles.
I thought about that, but
Most of the world's castles are in Great Britain. They have, like, I looked it up earlier today, they have over 4,000 castles. And a lot of them, maybe not 4,000 of them, but there's a good amount of them that are still being, like, lived in and stuff.
I agree. I like the castles, but I don't
And
think it's distinctly British.
Yeah, whatever. I don't
You got
care.
French ones, you got German ones, Italian, Spain.
They probably have the most.
Spain has Castiles.
Yeah, but these are like castles, like if you thought of Game of Thrones, these are those kind of castles. These are like traditional castles, which just make them cool. You know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, knights, castles, yada yada, dragons. Boom. England has them. Castles is a good pick. I don't care what you say.
So castles is your number 4 pick?
My number 5 pick is BBC. Not to be
I
confused.
was thinking BBC as well.
Not to be confused.
I'm
with-
always thinking BBC.
Yeah. I bet you are always thinking BBC, but not the entertainment British television network. Look at how
What other BBC is?
some big. Never mind. We'll move past it. BBC. That's my pick. When I think of British, think of the BBC, the British. I don't know what the BC stands for.
Broadcasting company.
There you go. Should have looked that up. I'm lazy. It happens. But that's my 5th pick, the BBC. What's your 5th pick?
My 5th pick is going to be one of their slang words.
I have a few slang words on my list.
My 5th pick is going to be the term of endearment, mate.
Oh.
Mate is one. Good day, mate. Mate is. Everybody wishes they could pull off saying mate like the British pull off saying mate.
Could you pull off saying bruv?
Bruv.
I feel like
I sound British when I say bruv.
I feel like everybody could just get behind saying bruv.
Bruv.
I like it when they say bruv. That's a good one.
But yeah, mate is my number 5 pick as a vocabulary word. I think it's awesome. I like saying mate.
Before we go on and recap all 5, you have any cool honorable mentions you want to?
I do have one. I was thinking about picking as my last pick. Great Britain, 4 countries in one. I think that's pretty cool. You got Wales, Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland.
Shout out the stereotypically bad teeth.
Bad Teeth was on there. Stonehenge,
Big Ben,
Big Ben, Fish and Chips,
the pound.
the Pound,
But the pound's not worth more than the dollar, so
Doctor Who,
it's, I guess, not a top British thing if you think
Doctor
about
Who,
it. Ted
London,
Lasso, Shakespeare,
London,
Sherlock Holmes,
The Open,
Powder
the British
Wigs.
Open.
Powdered Wigs. I almost, if I could
Didn't
have
have
gotten
that
it,
one on my list.
if I could have gotten it, I was gonna come in with a full like British Parliament costume, but they're expensive.
But yeah, let's
that would've been
recap.
hilarious.
My number 1 was From My Beautiful Girlfriend Clara, football/soccer.
But it
number
really
2,
wasn't.
British accent. It was. My number 3, James Bond. My number 4, Wimbledon. And my number 5, the term mate.
My number 1 is the monarchy. Number 2 is tea. Number 3 is the Union Jack. Number 4 is castles. And number 5 is that good old BBC.
All right, Alex, let's jump ahead to our preview of UFC 304, Edwards Muhammad. There's 2 title fights on this card.
An interim and
That's the real title fight.
an interim and a welterweight.
Interim and a welterweight. We're in Manchester, England. We got 5 fights on the main card. I think every one of them.
Is gonna happen.
Every one of them. Let's hope it happens. Every one of them has a strong British fighter on the card in the fight.
Yeah, I just counted it to make sure there's 5 good Englishmen fighting for their
5 good
country.
Englishmen. But let's go ahead. Let's start off the main card opener. Arnold Almighty Allen taking on Giga Chikadze. Chikadze 15-3, 8-1 in the UFC with 3 KOs. He's taking on Arnold Allen, who's 10-2 in the UFC with 2 KOs, never been finished. But Arnold Allen has lost 2 in a row.
Right.
But his 2 losses, very respectable losses. Evelev and Holloway, Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Last fight was in January, which is a tough unanimous decision loss. He had 12 wins in a row before this 2-fight losing streak. So he's a guy that's used to winning. He's trying to get back on the right track. But he has a tough competition again in Chikadze ahead of him.
I don't want to say he doesn't have tough competition in Chikadze because he only has one UFC loss, but his lone UFC loss was his lone time fighting a top 10 UFC opponent.
And Calvin Kattar kind of exposed him. He's been a little while since he fought him, but
Yeah.
Calvin Kattar,
January 2022.
Calvin Kattar kind of exposed him, and then Calvin Kattar went on to later on that year lose to Arnold Allen.
Right. Giga Chikadze fought Alex Caceres afterwards, winning by decision. But
I love saying his name too, Giga Chikadze.
I know it's really fun. Giga Chikadze. That's the Giga Chad's the male Karen, right? I think. Anywho, Kattar exposed him. Allen's never been finished, and Chikadze's typically, KO or nothing else. At least in the UFC, that's what he's been, KO or decision. This one, man, I gotta say, even with Chikadze's reach advantage, I think Arnold Allen's gonna win. I think he's a better, well-rounded fighter, number one, but that big top 10, Calvin Kattar beating Chikadze and just him being wildly unimpressive in that performance, I think Arnold Allen's going to win. Mix it up, get him on the ground. He's a southpaw. He's just going to be throwing so many different looks at him. I have to assume that everything's going to fall in line here.
I agree with you. I think Arnold Allen's going to get back on the winning train. He's had a couple of tough fights, a couple of tough losses, but he didn't get, he still performed well in those fights. He didn't look bad in the fights. I think he gets back on the winning train. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter. I think he's the quicker fighter. I think Arnold Allen, in front of the English fans, gets his 20th career win, 11th career UFC win.
How do you think Arnold Allen wins, since we agree? I think he's going to win by decision.
I think it's going to be a decision fight, and I think the decision going to the scorecard, I think is going to favor Allen.
Yeah, same. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next fight. That's going to be CLD Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez.
This was the hardest one for me to pick.
Well, it's pretty damn close on the odds, too. Like a lot of the fights on this card overall, it's two tough fighters, two big guys. Well, not every fight's two big guys, but two tough fighters, close odds, contentious. They both have specialties. They're both, they're good at what they do. It's going to be tough.
Well, get this. So, CLD 3-1 in the UFC, 3 KO wins. RoboCop 6-2 in the UFC, 6 KO wins.
Yep.
So this is going to be one you're not going to want to blink. These guys are going to stand with each other. They're going to bang with each other. It's going to be. This has potential to be the best fight on this main card. And
Yeah.
I think it's probably the odds-on favorite to be the best fight on the main card, most exciting fight on the main card.
Yeah, both guys, it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a stand up and knock the other guy out. I mean,
Both guys earlier this year, they're coming in February for RoboCop against our boy Brad Tavares.
Yep.
March
Shout
for
out that
CLD
dick.
Against Ribeiro. Both coming off KO wins, TKO KO wins.
It's crazy to see in their division that Greg RoboCop, whatever, he always looks so much bigger.
He does. He's a big guy.
This time,
But CLD's pretty big too.
that was a good. He has somebody who can stack up to him his frame.
6'2" versus 6'3".
Yep. 75-inch reach for Christian Leroy Duncan. 79-inch reach for CLD. 75 for Gregory Rodriguez. That always plays a factor when it's a larger, inch.
And both guys have some momentum coming too. 2 wins in a row for each guy. Obviously, CLD.
That's funny.
3-1 in the UFC, so he's won 3 out of 4. RoboCop has won 4 out of 5, 2 in a row.
I will say one thing about, two more facts, and then I'm done spitting my facts. Rodriguez is 2-0 against longer reach, and he's 100% as an underdog. So he's won both of his fights as an underdog in the UFC. He has also lost 2 of the fights where he was a favorite, but he's currently plus odds, so I don't care about the favorite.
Goddamn, Alex, you changed my mind. I'm going RoboCop.
There we go.
RoboCop knockout.
I also pick RoboCop knockout. Gregory Rodriguez knocking out Christian Leroy Duncan in the second round. What do
Let's
you think
move
of
on to the
that?
next one.
King Green.
King Green, he changed his name.
I think his new nickname should be Bobby.
King Bobby Green. King
think
Bobby Green sounds more like a king's name.
It sounds kind of like somebody off of King of the Hill too.
Yes.
Taking on Patty the Baddie Pimblett.
Patty the Baddie.
These guys are the same height. They're going to come in at the
How
same
surprising.
weight.
We follow Patty the Baddie from the get-go.
Yep.
He's still 5-0 in the UFC. People talk so much shit on him. They've totally disregarded him.
Okay.
And he's 5-0 in the UFC. I know he had a controversial split decision win.
People also talk shit on Ian Gary. And he's still undefeated.
Yeah, but they talk shit for
you're one of the
way
guys.
different reasons.
Exposed.
For way different reasons.
Why? Let's talk about this guy. Let's not.
Ian Gary, nobody's questioning if Ian Gary is good or not.
Why are people doing the same to Patty then?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know
So
why.
we agree on that.
Because you
at
can
least.
agree that Patty could be annoying. You could not I like Patty. But I could see if you thought he was annoying, you didn't like him. Like I do with Ian Gary. But Ian Gary's good. Patty, he's 5-0 in the UFC. He's 21-3 as a professional fighter. Like, you're good.
And he's only 29 years old.
You're good.
And-
7-fight winning streak. He has a killer ground game. His striking could use some work, but he has power. He can knock guys out. I mean, he's a guy, if he can put it together, if he can stop this like crazy weight changes, which it sounds like he's been working on doing that.
Have you seen his abs this past week? It looks like he ain't bothering with no heavy weight cut. You know,
I mean, he's a guy, he has the tools to be great. And
he
he's
doesn't
taking
want
on
to focus on it.
And he's taking on King Bobby Green, who, say what you want about the guy, he's crazy, but he can knock people out. He's entertaining. He's 13 wins, 10 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest in the UFC, but he's won 3 out of 4. And his last performance, I mean, he just demolished
Yeah.
UFC fan favorite Jim Miller.
Yeah, it was UFC 300. It was
One of the first fights.
It was crazy, and he just walked out. And he was like, "Listen,
I know y'all love Jim Miller.
I'm sorry, buddy."
The whole
bop.
story all week was Jim Miller has a win on UFC 100, on UFC 200, and then he just got destroyed.
This is the only appropriate time I could see to insert the Kendrick Lamar "Not Like Us." That's what he did. King Green did to Jim Miller.
Yes.
He's just like pop, pop, pop. They not like us, and he just fucked him over. King Green 3-1-1 in his last 5.
I'm Team
as you
Kendrick, by
said.
the way.
Huh? I'm Team Kendrick too. Fuck Drake.
Fuck Drake.
Hey.
Certified pedophile.
There you go. Pimblett, like you said, 5-0, 3 finishes, 2 decisions. This is his first attempt at a top 15 fighter. So that'll be a big test for him. Regardless of the age difference, 63% of the time when it's like plus 6 years,
I mean, this is
the younger
second-
fighter wins.
His last fight was against Tony Ferguson too, so he's fighting all the old guys.
Taking him out. Do what you got to do. He said he's making a belt of legacies. He's just taking them. Age and reach are in the favor of Patty the Baddie. This is his first time as the underdog, plus 100, so it's
When
dead
he
even.
walks out in England,
It's
in
gonna be a
Manchester, it's
roar.
gonna be crazy. Oh, Patty the Baddie.
I'm going to be saying it too.
Yes, I will too.
Patty the Pimblett by decision. Patty the Baddie by decision. That's my
I
that's
got
my
Patty
answer.
winning the fight too. For some reason, I think he's gonna catch Bobby Green with a choke. I think he's gonna choke Bobby Green out. But Patty Pimblett in a
All
close
right.
fight.
I like it. Let's go to the interim but real title shot for the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall taking on Curtis Razor Blades.
Tom Aspinall is one of my favorite fighters. I love watching this guy fight.
He very quickly jumped into the.
He's 7-1 in the UFC, and his only loss was when he got hurt against Curtis Blades in 15 seconds. He hurt his knee.
He's trying to rectify a wrong here. He's trying to take the blemish off his record, prove it was just the injury, and I think he's going to have a good opportunity to do it on home turf.
You know what's crazy?
Again,
Yeah, the last one was in London.
the O2 Arena, yeah.
He's fought 8 times in the UFC.
All
7 of the 8 have been first round, including the one he got injured and lost.
Right.
And then the only one that wasn't was a second round win for him.
yeah, but it was all finishes.
All finishes.
Yeah.
He's one of the rare heavyweights
Who can sub people?
who can sub people. Because Curtis Blades has a good ground game. He can wrestle pretty well, but he doesn't sub
Yep.
anybody.
He does. He does have a good ground game, but
Yes.
I was agreeing. Sorry.
Aspinall has crazy jiu-jitsu. He has crazy power. He's crazy quick. I like Curtis Blades a lot too. I'm glad he finally got a well-deserved title shot.
I gotta say,
He probably should have got it in the past, but he got it now. But I got Aspinall winning this. I think he's going to knock him out in the first round.
Long before this podcast, you put me on to Curtis Blades. You text
Curtis
me,
Razor Blades.
You'd always text me, be like, "Yo, fight night, Blades is fighting. You gotta watch it. It's gonna be a banger." And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you."
And then remember, he was on the rise. He was about to get a title shot.
And then
Derek Lewis had the
KO'd him.
crazy KO.
Yep.
But then since then, he's won 5 out of 6.
Yeah, he's only lost to Pavlovich since then. And that's what I was kind of leading into. He's only lost in the UFC 3 times. Ngannou KO, Derek Lewis KO, and a Sergey Pavlovich KO. Those
are good guys to lose to, but
Derek Lewis is probably the worst of them to lose to.
The KO is the thing that is glaring for me when you facing a guy like Tom Aspinall who has like that killer instinct.
Yeah, he's been knocked out a few times. Honestly, I think this is the biggest opportunity for Tom Aspinall to show that he's not worried about, who the champion, who the guy holding the belt is at the top, whether it's John Jones or Miocic at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. He's coming to take that belt. And I think he has the power to rise all the way, and he will be the heavyweight champion next.
Well, I think he's the interim champ right now, but
as
all intents and purposes, he's the champ.
Yeah.
The other guys aren't fighting.
Right. I think he will knock out Curtis Blades. My question, like yours, is, I'm sure, what round?
I'm going first round. I think it's like within the first 2 minutes. Curtis, I like Curtis a lot, but we've seen him where he kind of telegraphs some of his...
this thing when he's like not trying to get hit and his arms go straight out.
And he kind of telegraphs some of his
Yeah.
takedown attempts. If you do that against Tom Aspinall, like you're going to sleep.
I'll piggyback that. I'll join you on the first round knockout. I like it.
I think first half of the first round, Tom Aspinall knockout.
All right. Leon Edwards defending his title
Main
against
event.
Bilal Muhammad.
His third title defense already, so good for Leon.
Yep. He won it off of surprise head kick knockout. Surprise.
Then he dominated Kamaru. Then he dominated Colby Covington.
The second fight of Kamara was when
Third
everybody...
fight, actually.
Oh, yeah, the third fight. His second win over Kamara, defense on the belt, was when everybody started turning on Kamara, saying like, "Oh, he's the worst thing that's ever existed."
Yeah. But it's also coincidentally when they started giving respect to Leon Edwards.
Yeah, it's funny how
it's crazy.
They do
The
that.
fight game's crazy.
But similarly,
and he's taking on a guy with
who gets no respect.
No respect in Bilal Muhammad. Remember the name.
Similar records. Leon Edwards is 22-3. Bilal Muhammad's 23-3. They both win the majority of their fights by decision. Very few knockouts or submissions between the two of them.
And it's another rematch that ended. This one ended in an eye poke when they fought in what was it?
It was a
2021.
Fight night.
Yeah, it was.
I remember the
21.
fight. It was a brutal eye poke. It
was a bad eye poke.
It sucked for Bilal. I remember him crying. Not like in talking shit at all. Like I would be bawling if I thought I was blind too. Like he couldn't see for at least a few minutes.
Yeah, it was a bad eye poke.
But Leon Edwards he's on a 12-fight unbeaten, 13-fight unbeaten streak, and Bilal Muhammad's on a 10-fight unbeaten streak. These big streaks are coming to an end today unless there's another no contest or something.
It should be
But I think it's going to be a clean fight. I think this one's going to come in. Bilal Muhammad's been talking mad shit ever since then, truthfully. But
you saw Leon had a good comeback to him because Bilal was saying he's going to take him down and do all this and submit him or TKO. And Leon told him today, he's like, "You've never done that in your entire career. Why would you do that now?"
Yeah, why would you change up the whole game? But that's kind of what I was saying. Leon, outside of that surprise knockout of Usman, he wasn't out there knocking everybody out left and right. He wasn't subbing everybody. He was fighting well.
Crazy striking, which is like nobody wants to fuck with.
He's got timing. He's got rhythm. He's a very good boxer. I mean, you don't have the nickname Rocky as a southpaw unless you can bang. I do think this is going to be a tougher fight than everybody expects. The odds aren't crazy. It's minus 260 plus 210. I think Bilal Muhammad has a chance. I think there is some bad blood here.
I think he has a chance.
And I think because of the chance, I think I'm going to see a Bilal Muhammad upset victory.
I wholeheartedly disagree with you. I think it's going to be a decision win. I'll give you that. But I think Leon comes in.
Especially with cards being crazy. Like, not the main card or whatever, but the judges' scorecards being crazy.
But it's in England.
I think it's perfectly assumable to say that Bilal Muhammad could win this fight.
He could win, but I think Leon comes in here, and I think he pieces up Bilal. I think he wins like either 4-1 or all 5 rounds. I think Leon shows there's levels to this. No disrespect to Bilal. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a top 5 fighter. I don't think he's on Leon's level.
That's fair. We'll see. May the best man win. All right, so we're going to start Stakes and Takes this week. As every week, we're going to recap last week, and then we're going to jump into this week's picks and everything. So let's kick it off. How did you do overall last week, Christian?
So last week in picks, we had one fight get pulled off, the co-main event of
Now,
last week.
because it didn't start, the fight never started, we're not taking a dash. We just had 9 total
Yeah, just
picks.
9 total. So I did 6-3 overall, 3-2 in the UFC, 3-1 in my pick your own picks. How about you?
I did 4 and 5 overall. It was a bad week for me. It was a
You've been
rare
having
bad
lot of
week.
those.
I'd say a rare bad week, you motherfucker. 3-2 in the UFC, 1-3 in pick my own picks, which had UFC in it, as they always do. That moved to total standings. I'm at 102 wins, 64 losses, and 3 pushes for picks. Christian, you are at 109 losses.
109 wins.
Or wins. Damn it. I was hoping you didn't catch that. I changed the graphic. 109 wins, 57 losses, and 3 pushes as well. I'm running out of time to catch up. Like I said before,
Just one bad week.
I need one
0
bad
and 10
week from you, and a couple good weeks from me, and I can be right back in the standings. But we're starting season 3, college football week 0, so we're running out of time. For bets last week, I went 3-1.
I did 2-2, so you beat me there.
Nice. I went plus 1.8, and Christian, you did plus 0.08.
I'll take not being minus.
Yeah, the 2-2 was a favor because you barely had enough to go plus.
I'll take it.
I did good on a couple things. The one I got wrong doesn't even matter because I got it wrong. Let's jump directly into the picks for this week. UFC 304 is what we're starting, basing this whole episode on, how John Anik would say it. What do you have for picks? Run it top to bottom.
So starting with the main event.
Start with the main event.
So I got Leon Edwards over Bilal. I got Tom Aspinall over Curtis Blades. I got Patty Pimblett over King Green. I got RoboCop Rodriguez over CLD. And I got Arnold Allen over Chikadze.
Awesome. I have Bilal Muhammad over Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall over Curtis Blades, Patty Pimblett over King Green, Gregory Rodriguez over Christian Leroy Duncan, and Arnold Allen over
So the only one
Giga Chikadze.
we disagree on is
The main event.
the main event.
I'm not going to get any picks back that way. Maybe one. Moving on, let's bring the picks we have to the table. What are you bringing to the table this week, Christian?
So I had to search far and wide to keep my soccer thing going, but I got 5 soccer picks for us.
I'm still liking your soccer picks every week. I need to get, maybe on season 3 I'll be more organized and we'll break out the records of how each of them are. Anyway, you want to bring soccer first? I have 3 UFC and 2 golf this week to bring us to 10 total. So we'd run it down however you want. You want to go UFC and then we'll go into the open air from there?
Yes.
All right, so I'm bringing 3 UFC to the table. First up, in the order that they're coming up on the card, Muhammad Mokaev is taking on Manel Kopp. I think Muhammad Mokaev is going to stay undefeated. He will move to 13-0, and this is an early prelim fight. So
Very good early prelim
very
fight.
good early prelim fight. Another English guy, that's Muhammad Mokaev, taking on Portugal's Manel Kopp. So from there, I'm going to go with the meatball Molly McCann over Bruna Brazil. She's a heavier favorite here, but like Patty Pimblett, I think they always rep it together. I think both of them are going to get the win, and I think it's going to be an entertaining fight. Last time out for Molly McCann, she got her first submission victory, so that was impressive for her to kind of notch that belt for her. And then finally, I'm going to take the prelim main event, the finale, Nathaniel Wood over Daniel Pineda. I'm taking Nathaniel Wood, another English guy, taking on USA. This one I got to go with the English. Nathaniel Wood, heavier odds again, but I like him as a fighter. He's strong.
I do like Nathaniel Wood. Those are good picks.
And then 2 soccer. I'm going 3M Open. Or I'm sorry, 2 golf.
I was
My
about to
bad.
say, oh, wow.
Surprise soccer. No, I'm going to go with golf, 3M Open. Billy Horschel at the Open last weekend, he tied for 7th with -7 through 4 very hard rounds of golf to play. I think he's going to keep that alive, even though he hasn't had the best year outside of the one major or the one win he has. I think he's going to have a top 20 finish. That's plus 115 if anybody was wondering. But I think he's going to have a top 20 finish, Billy Horschel. And then Tony Finau, I think he's going to have a top 10 finish. That's also plus 115. So you have a chance to double up if you're going to bet on it. But yeah, I like those. You know, but Billy Horschel played very strong last week. Tony Finau is trying to use the 3M Open to kind of get some more FedEx Cup points, if you will. So, what do you got for soccer?
5 soccer, as I said. We're going to start actually tomorrow, Wednesday night.
All right.
A friendly in Los Angeles. It's actually Carson, California, but LA area.
Fair.
Arsenal taking on Bournemouth. Both Premier League teams. Not much to say. Arsenal, you know how I roll with that.
Yep.
Next one is going to be tomorrow as well. It's one of the Olympic openers, soccer. So Olympics and soccer is weird. It's the under 23 teams, but you get 3 guys over 23.
Okay.
So we have
I understood that.
Argentina versus Morocco. This is not the Argentina with like Leo Messi or anything. Has some good players though. They're taking on Morocco. I got Argentina over Morocco because why wouldn't you? It's Argentina,
Fair.
Even if it's under 23. Then we're going to go back to Europe. We got Europa League qualifying. So they have the Champions League. You know about the Champions League.
Yep, heard of it. That's
So
that's the good one.
They have the Europa League, which is like, so Champions League is like the top teams from every league.
Right.
Europa League is like the second
beneath that.
Yes, second-rated teams from every league go and play this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You get a silver group.
Yes. So
Nice.
This is what that is qualifying. This is Ajax in Amsterdam taking on a Serbian team called Vojvodina.
Vojvodina? Okay.
Vojvodina. I got Ajax winning. That's all you need to know. They've won all their friendlies so far this year.
And
all
don't
5 of
stop
them.
now, right?
Yes. Then we're going to go to Belgium, where the season's actually starting. This is the first game of the new season.
They have like 38 seconds off.
Yeah, some of them end early. Some of them, a lot of these guys probably aren't playing in Europe, the Euros and everything.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
But we got Club Bruges hosting KC Mechelen. First league game is the year, as I said. They did 2 times and they played twice in 2023, both of them draws. But I got Bruges at home getting the dub. Then my last pick, we're going to go to Switzerland. Not only have they started their season, this is the second week of the season. We got FC Basel, who lost their first game, taking on FC Lugano, who won their first game. But Basel's at home. I like Basel. I have a jersey of Basel.
Ooh, nice.
I got Basel winning this game, so that's my pick.
Fair.
And yeah, those are my 5 picks.
All right, nice 5 picks. Everything we just said, if you listened, that'll add up all to 10. Now let's break out, as we always do, the 5 that we're going to bet on.
Our 5 bets in units.
Where are you going to put your money where your mouth is?
I got 3 UFC bets and 2 soccer bets.
Lay them all on me. This is all for Christian. Let's see. What do we have?
So my first UFC bet, I'm doing 4 units on Leon Edwards minus 250.
The mad disrespect.
4 units. I'm banking the success of my week on Leon Edwards.
Okay.
Then I'm putting 1 unit on Paddy Pimblett with plus odds at plus 105.
Okay.
Then I'm putting 1 unit on Gregor Rodriguez plus odds plus 120. So those are my 3 UFC picks.
Nice. You want to just go ahead and finish up with your soccer?
Yeah, and then I'll do 2 units Argentina money line. That's Olympics minus 170. Then I'm gonna do 2 units Basel plus 150 money line.
All right. Well, as long as my math checks out, that looks like 10 units to me.
And 3 with plus odds, so I have a chance to.
You have a chance to make some.
I do.
Or lose it all. Yeah, that's good. Christian, you're up like 18 units on the season, so that's good. This is, like you just said, another opportunity to get more. My bets this week, I'm up 24 units on the season. So while my record's a little worse, I've had some better bets pay off, I guess. But to bring me back into the standings, Arnold Allen, I'm putting 2 units on that, minus 260. Gregory Rodriguez, 2 units on that, plus 125. I'm going to take Muhammad Mokaev, minus 155, 2 units there. Patty the Batty, plus 105, like you. I'm taking it. And Billy Horschel to lock in a top 20 finish, including ties, of course, at the 3M Open. That's a plus 115 line, 2 units across the board. think it's going to be a good week for me. I mean, it's at this point, it has to be a good week for you if it's a good week for me. So let's do it. That'll lock it all in.
Yeah, so that's episode 52. Check us out next week, episode 53. We're going to recap UFC 304, obviously. Big main event next week in Abu Dhabi. Corey Sandhagen, Usman. Is it Usman?
Yep.
Umar Nurmagomedov. That's a big fight. Winner probably gets a title shot out of that. We're going to have a top 5 for you. We're going to give you more stakes and takes. So yeah, check it out next week, and be sure to go to w.gg for your clean, jitterless energy. Use promo code SPLITDECISION. 10% off?
Yep,
10% off. w.gg.
Thank you. Bye.